Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PMC Podcast. This is episode number 1. My name is Chris. I'm the Diversity Coordinator. And our very first guest is the Vice President, Annika. How are you?
I feel good, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Going back a little bit with your journey, you're from India. You moved to Australia 7 years ago.
Yep.
Now you find yourself doing a master's in project management. You are also employed as a project manager.
Yep.
What made you jump on an aeroplane, come over here and decide to get into project management?
Well, if I tell you it was a 5 minutes decision, you wouldn't believe me, but it really was. So back in 2018, after I graduated high school, I was never good at high school, just by the way. I took subjects which I didn't enjoy, but I decided that I don't want to stick around in India anymore and stay with my parents. I just wanted to step out, find a bit of myself because I feel like back at home the culture is very close box, so you're not exactly open to a lot of opportunities and you don't actually have a personality of your own. In ways your parents kind of enforce and influence a lot of your decisions. I really just wanted to see what I could do by myself in a country where nobody knows me. And maybe, English is not even like my first language. So I just wanted to explore by myself. And at 18, I decided that I'm just going to do it. I was sitting in my father's office and he just asked me that, what are you going to do? Like, you finished high school. The next step for you in the career chain is going to be going and pursuing a bachelor's. And I was like, I don't think I want to go to a school in my home country. I do want to step outside of my comfort zone and just shift to another continent. Take that big leap.
Did you find it tough in the beginning when you first landed, making friends, getting involved with uni?
Initially, when I came here, I wasn't this confident. I was very introverted, kept very reserved to myself, especially because a big part of me was just trying to figure out what to do in this country. At 18, you're just still so young. Over here, you were an adult, but in reality, you haven't done anything at all. You have no life experience. And everything in my life while growing up was kind of granted to me. All my decisions were made for me. And this was the first time it was you just have to figure stuff out by yourself. So the first few years were really difficult. I didn't know small things like where do I get my food from? I have to do my laundry every single time or find a house for myself, as well as manage studies with it. So studies kind of just becomes a very small part of your life rather than becoming your whole life, which was very common back home. And with that, you discover that, okay, you're going to work on so many other things like your personality, as well as figure out how the systems in this country work so you can kind of fit in. So it is overwhelming. But the only way to overcome that, according to me, and what I did was just dive straight into the deep end and you'll figure it out.
I think a lot of students and just people in general struggle with imposter syndrome. Is there any tips or tricks for people that are thinking about moving over here or have just landed to make things a little bit easier?
I reckon I still have imposter syndrome. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I still feel like there are a lot of things which I don't think I deserve. And that's a very personal thought, but I feel like you never get over it. You just learn how to believe in yourself a little bit more with every single step. You just learn how to become a bit more confident because it's a big thing that I realized that a lot of people are actually faking it. It's not like, everyone else has it figured out in their lives or everyone has their problems resolved. It's just everyone's going through life step by step and trying to figure out a way to make it work for them. So how I see it is that I'm not it's not something different. It's not something which is so daunting. You just have to see it in a way that, okay, I have this challenge in my hand, and the best thing that I can do about this is just work towards it. And you can be wrong about it or you can be completely right about it. Doesn't really matter. But rather be wrong about it and learn from it than not even give it a go and be like, I didn't even try and I failed.
That's a great point. So it feels like there's value in failing. So even if you don't get the result you want, the fact that you tried, but you didn't win, you get a little bit more tolerance on failing. You get a bit more personality from it as well because you've gone through a hard thing. So I guess the idea here is, look, there's going to be setbacks, especially when you come from another country, you're learning the language. There's going to be challenges. No one's going to deny that. But if you can just keep failing and get back on the horse, so to speak, there's positive results at the end of it. So that brings me on to the next sort of point I wanted to bring up with you. What's really cool about you, Annika, is that you're the vice president. You do really well in class, and you're a good student. But then you also work as a project manager. And I know a lot of people that will listen to this are interested in employment. Now, as the PMC, our mantra is it's all about helping students transition from uni, out of uni into a role. And that's the big worry, right? So the big worry is you move over here, you get the piece of paper, you get the degree, but then what's next?
To be fair with you, like I failed at the very first thing that I came to do in Australia. That is become an architect. I mean, at 18, that's what I thought that I would become. So I did my Bachelor's of Design from University of Melbourne. I studied architecture over there for 3 years. And after that, I was like, I don't think I'm cut out for this. And I don't think that I can do it. I just don't have it in me. Just don't have that passion. And I decided that instead of just stepping into my master's, not knowing what I really wanted to do, I decided to just pursue like a career or like just do something inside the field of architecture. So, for starters, I wasn't actually looking for jobs in architecture. I was looking for something which I was more interested in, which was like the software aspect of it. So, I started working as a visualizer for tier one builders. So I still had like my architecture skills back from like my bachelor's days, but then I was helping tier one builders with a lot of like visualizations. And in the midst of all of this, like the thing that helped me was just applying, networking, talking to people, and really working on building a personality. Because I learned this thing, especially like coming to Australia, you can have the best grades, you can, be involved with most of these student clubs, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a personality or something else which kind of differentiates you from your studies, it really doesn't help. It really doesn't matter. So building my personality came with the fact that I also do a fitness course with it. So I'm super into fitness and I got into it and started playing basketball as well because I was like, studies are a part of my life as well as my job, which is a part of my life. So I started like segmenting my life into like these different portions. And I was like, I can do it all as long as I know in my head I can put them all in their own segments and make sure I do well in all of them. And that's when I landed my job in construction in the level crossing removal project with Fulton Hogan as a digital engineer slash cadet. Amazing team, amazing people. And I think they really helped me shape a lot of my personality over them. And Fulton Hogan as a company was good to work with, just people who have really good high moral values. And they had a whole mentor buddy system where I met one of the guys. His name's Tom Calvert. He's like a senior project manager over there. And like, we just used to have these casual conversations like once a week or something, catch ups over coffee. And he just used to tell me what stuff he was doing on every level crossing in terms of like project management. And I'm like, you know what? I really like this field because I realized that I'm actually good with people. I'm not that introverted. I actually really enjoy talking to people. And that's just something that I started getting more interest in because of him. And he used to like get me on site and actually show me all the processes. So we had our catch ups, but we also used to like go on site and he used to show me like, okay, this is what we'll be doing today. This guy is like the estimator. This is what he does. This guy is the quality manager. So that's when my interest in project management grew. And that's when I joined RMIT as a project manager.
I took a couple of things from that. First one is you started with architecture and you're like, okay, that's not for me. So that's really good self-awareness because you sort of went, okay, that's not my thing. So I'm going to try something else. So that's a good lesson there. And then the second lesson is, which is going to be the huge message across all these podcasts and anything we do with the PMC, is that it's all about people skills, making relationships with people. So from that relationship, you've made this connection, maybe a mentor even, and things are moving from there.
This is the biggest skill. Like, as much as people don't want to like highlight it, just learning, it's not that hard. The trick that I have usually that works well with me when it comes to like talking to people or just being confident with it is just think of the other person being as clueless as you are. And most of the people actually are. If you think of them as not being this, superior being or someone who's going to judge you, you're never going to be able to talk to them. So you just have to like look at them that this person's probably not going to judge me, because most people won't even remember stuff you say to them by the end of the day.
That's right. And it is scary. So you're not discounting the fact that it's a challenge, it's a skill set to put yourself out there, to put yourself in these situations, to talk to potential bosses and whatnot and opportunities. But that's a really good way to think about it. At the end of the day, they're just people as well. They've all got a history, and, show up as your best self. And if that works, that's great. And if you're compatible, that's fantastic. If it doesn't work and you're not compatible, that's cool too, because there is someone out there that will want to work with you, and there's opportunities to go with it. And putting yourself out there, having the conversation, especially in project management roles.
Yeah, that's just the first step, because you'll realize eventually. And now, because I moved back into residential and commercial spaces with land construction, I realize that people still behave in ways, that a 10, 15-year-old person would behave in. But at the same time, it's just like after, having that skill set of being able to talk to people, that's just step one. Like step two after that is actually learning how to manage them. If you're going to be in a leadership position, you should know exactly how you want to handle your team and how you want to go about making sure that everyone in your team is happy, but being the right amount of authoritative with that as well. Like that's a big skill set, which I see a lot of project managers these days don't have as well. And it's something to learn, right? Like having soft skills is important, but making sure like the team understands what your goals are from the project as well, and making sure like, especially in construction, like we have to complete the job. So having authority mixed with it is your stage number two. So stage one is just something that has to happen.
Right. And I'm sure there's challenges there too, which you may have gone through when it comes to, like you said, with construction, that building needs to be put up regardless. And you need to have some sort of assertiveness going on alongside those friendly people skills to make sure the job gets done. And then I'm sure there's other challenges, if you feel comfortable talking about, there's other challenges that go along with it. So can we speak about that a little bit? Because, you do need to put your foot down every now and again.
Yep. I mean, in construction management, it's a very stringent and a very straightforward industry. I reckon a lot of my personality right now is being shaped by the fact that I am in construction, where I just have to be brutally honest to people. But that's the reality of the industry that you're getting in. And that's what I personally enjoy. And I like that if the stuff is not getting done, you just have to like make sure it has to be submitted on time. So let's say for government projects, we've got like all these level crossing removal projects happening around Melbourne. You cannot actually have that road closed for like a certain amount of time, because you have people relying on you, commuters who are getting disturbed every single day because construction works are happening around them. Or in residential, when you've got a building where tenants have already registered to move in by a certain date, you have not just, one person who's like your client who wants that building up, but you are actually dealing with middle life size people, like real people who are like, going to be staying in these apartments or using these facilities all around. So the amount of stakeholders that you have in that project is humongous. So you have to make sure it's just done by that time. And in government, especially, every single time you delay it, you lose a lot of money. So the industry is very fast paced. And that's what I learned just being in it. Then I have to look at problems and think of solutions simultaneously. Like your brain needs to work in both ways. And as a woman, yes, you will face a lot in construction, especially because working with tradies and working with men who completely dominate this field, it's very hard making your mark up there. And if you mix an ethnic with it, which clearly I am, it's a bit more harder. But what advice I have for all the young girls out there who want to pursue this, just keep pushing through, because you just have to make your point across as stern as you can be and as direct you can be about your stuff. You should be, and you should not be afraid to speak up about the fact that if something is wrong on the site, you should go to one of your site managers or site supervisors and talk to them about it. If there's something wrong and you see that something is happening which is wrong, you've got so many women unions and like women construction crews which will be there out there to help you. So just speak up. That's what I would say.
That's great advice. So it's called thick skin, right? You got to have a thick skin in this industry. You know,
It's not very much.
that's right. And that was actually what I was going to say is like, if you're going to be too affected by that, maybe it's not the right role for you. And we spoke about that earlier about, being conscious of like what you actually like yourself. And, maybe construction is a bit more intense in that way, and there might be another avenue you could go down if yeah, right? There's options out there too.
There's always options for you to like switch around or move around, but this industry specifically requires you to be like quite straightforward. But other than that, even if you're not straightforward, there might be like you'll just face a lot more problems, and you'll just face like stringier timelines by not being, honest with yourself as well as with your team. Because as project managers, you start realizing the team kind of relies on you. A lot of the decisions are taken by you, which is still like it's very hard. Like if you come to me and you're like, okay, these are 10 decisions and I want them taken by the end of the day, it's very confronting. But it really does help, shape a lot of the way that you start thinking about stuff, that you start taking that leadership role on and being like, okay, I'm going to be solving these problems, finding these solutions. And if you know for a fact that you can't keep up with that, then maybe something else is suited better for you, and you will realize that. And I don't think I have a right answer at 25, if I'm being honest, but maybe, it's just something that develops with your personality.
And being 25 and having all the answers, I don't think that's never going to happen anyway.
I don't think you'll have the answers at 30 as well, to be fair, right? This is just my overview currently being in the industry for 3 years.
Thank you so much, Annika. This has been episode number 1 of the PMC podcast.
Thanks, Chris. Enjoyed it.